Okay, now that we know where this quadratic formula comes from, let's actually use it to solve a quadratic equation. All right, let's solve x squared plus 6x minus 5 equals 0. And just kind of running down our strategies we've used to solve equations so far. First of all, this equation does not factor because I don't have any numbers that multiply to -5 and add to +6. So we can't factor. I also can't use square roots because I have an x squared and an x and a number. I have 3 terms, so we can't just square root both sides. I could complete the square because my a value is 1 and my b value is even. So I could complete the square, but let's use our quadratic formula here so that we can get some extra practice. In our quadratic formula, I have my a, my b, and my c. So the first step is for us to identify in this equation what is a, what is b, and what is c. A is the number in front of the x squared, which is 1. B is our number in front of the x, and c is our constant. Once we figure this out, we are literally just plugging all of these numbers in to our quadratic formula here. So we get x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. And now let's simplify. Okay, negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared is 36 minus 4 times 1 times -5 is plus 20 over 2. And let's keep going. It's negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 56 over 2. And we need to simplify that square root of 56. So let's think about what numbers go into 56. That's a perfect square. Let's see, 56 is 4 times 14. So we can simplify this radical because we can simplify the square root of 4 nicely and bring a 2 out front. That 14 we can't square root nicely, so that stays underneath over 2. And then my last step to simplify our solution is to notice everything here. I'll circle these in a different color. All of these numbers are divisible by 2, which gives me negative 3 plus or minus 1 square root of 14. And I don't touch what's underneath my radical here. So x equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 14 is our solution. And one nice thing about the quadratic formula versus using your graphing calculator to solve, this gives us an exact answer where your calculator would tell you, like if you looked at a graph, your calculator would tell you 0.74 and negative 6.74 as your answers, and those are irrational numbers, so it's not really just 0.74, your number keeps going. It's a way for us to get an exact answer.